Okay, so I'll try and make it as quick as possible, kind of like an intro, get us all on the same page with everything. But if you're thinking about your homeschool like a plant, we're trying to make it grow, we're trying to make it flourish. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it appears dead. And that's okay, because what's happening is the root is growing and getting stronger. It's developing that really strong support system so that when storms, freezes, hurricanes, whatever comes its way, the tree can withstand it because it has that strong taproot. And so even when you're in your homeschool and you're like, oh my gosh, nothing's working, still stay faithful to keep doing what God's called you to do. Those habits are helping your homeschool create that strong taproot. They're helping your kids create that strong taproot. Just that consistency of doing the same thing over and over, it's going to lead you in one direction. But now, are you aware of that direction? Do you know the direction you're going? If not, you're going somewhere, you're just not in control of it. So really, before we get started, like full force, taking time to think about, okay, what am I striving for in my homeschool? What am I refusing to let happen? If you're trying to grow a tomato plant, you're going to think about like, oh, what kind of soil does a tomato plant need? How am I going to trellis it? You're just thinking about all these things for a tomato plant, which would be very different from if you're trying to grow strawberries. Okay, so you really want to think your homeschool. What do you want your kids to say about your homeschool? What are the things you're striving for? And try and pick 3 or 4 things. Too many, it gets overwhelming. 3 or 4 of things you're striving for. And that's like a guidepost for you. Boom, striving for this. On the other hand, things you're refusing to let happen in your homeschool. So you could be striving to have learning just flow naturally out of your house, to have fun, to do meaningful work. Those are things you're striving for. But then you're refusing to let busyness reign. You're refusing to respond in anger. You're refusing, the things you will not let happen. That's your other guidepost. And so these 2 things of what you're striving and refusing for, refusing to allow in your homeschool, that is your guidepost. It's setting you on the road to growing the homeschool that you want. Now, when you're doing all of this, start with wisdom. Wisdom comes from God. Ask, He will give it to you. But wisdom is also that foundation, in Proverbs 24, by wisdom, a house is built, through understanding, it's established. Wisdom is the foundation. You might have all these wonderful books and curriculums and all that stuff, all those walls, but if you don't have anywhere to put that knowledge, it's pointless. So you have to start with wisdom. God, what do you want me to strive for? What do you want me to refuse to allow into our homeschool this year? And keep it really simple. Okay, so we're going to go back to those guideposts probably almost every week, thinking about what your goals are, because that's going to affect your habits. If your habits are to make meaningful connections or do meaningful work, you're not going to make your kid do every single math problem. That's not meaningful. It takes up time and it's not fun. So you don't do it. You maybe pick the odds, the evens, or pick 3 problems, just something that's not going to take the fun out of it. If you're striving to have learning just flow naturally out of life, okay, babies having temper tantrums, learning flows naturally out of that. Having to make lunch, that's a learning experience right there. Your eyes are looking, where is learning just happening naturally? And then you realize, oh wait, I'm doing enough. I'm meeting that guidepost. I'm meeting that goal for my homeschool. So the habits are the things that are going to help those goals grow. They're kind of like the trellis. We cannot force our children or control them to do things our way, a certain way, but we can gently guide them, like a trellis would guide a plant. The plant is going to grow, but if it has that loving support system, that predictability, it will grow in that direction because it's easier. Someone's doing the work to hold it up already. And that's what we're doing as moms. We are cooking meals, doing laundry, trying to have gentle words, trying. We're doing these things. We're homeschooling our kids, trying to give them a great education. And it's like, it's a trellis. We're just trying to help our kids grow in a certain direction. Obviously, we don't bring the growth. God does. But our habits can help guide them to grow in the direction we want them to grow. So that's what we're going to kind of be focusing on through this session. So we're going to be like talking about, we as moms, we need to have daily quiet time. We're going to talk about how we do that. What does it look like to live within your boundaries? Believe it or not, that's a habit. Living within the boundaries God has given you, that is a habit. You have to train your brain to think. Record keeping, love it, hate it, it has to happen. How can you build in habits in your homeschool day to make record keeping easier and not so overwhelming? Let's see what else. Figuring out how to start your school day, a habit of like how to have a joyful start in your school day, handling the life homeschool balance, like laundry, errands, therapies, shopping, co-ops, all the things, like balancing it. And then the last one is just like handling the interruptions that come along, because we can't control that either, but we can control our response, our thoughts, and how we deal with that. So we're going to focus on habits around those areas that are going to breathe life into your homeschool. Give it the support it needs so you're growing in the direction of what you're striving for, and you're really guarding against what you're refusing. And just consistently doing those things over and over and over and over again. Like, it's weeding the soil, it's getting it ready. It's just making sure the plant has all it needs to be cultivated. And that's what habits do for our homeschooling. Good habits cultivate it so we grow towards the goal, the vision that God has given us. So I'm excited to get started with you for the next 6 weeks. And if you have questions or if you need help thinking through any of this, please just text, let me know.